From the iHeartRadio studios in New York City, come two diehard fans of the greatest rock and roll band hailing from Hollywood, California. Dissecting all things Guns N' Roses and anything else in their distorted minds, it's Brando and Scotto.
'Cause you know what the fuck you are!
And this is Appetite for Distortion.
Try it again!
And welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode 25. My name is Brando. With me, as always, is my partner in perfect crime, Scotto, Ian. What's going on, salty dog?
Not much, but this is the first time that we've done this. And the funny thing is, very few people know this. This is kind of inside. But the fact that the first time we attempted to do a live stream of any part, I was like, wow, I'm really not into this. Let's stop this. But now that we have like a professional setup at, my regular place of business, this is a little bit more comfortable, at least for me.
No, it is comfortable and weird for me.
Because you're not behind the board. So
I'm not behind the board because usually we do this in the iHeartRadio studios in Tribeca. And I wanted to come down and try these new studios. I mean, if you're a fan of Ian Scotto, who isn't, and a fan of the show, you've heard him mentioned Soft Rep a lot. And we're in the Soft Rep studios. And I know this is 2 months old? Or is
since May, so
a little longer than that.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at math.
Just about 4 months.
So this is pretty badass. I like this. There's a bunch of starter companies. This is...
Yeah. I
like this. No, I like this. And I like the fact that we're doing a live podcast. Look at this. I got papers out. I don't have a board in front of me. This is weird.
Yeah, and this is like a makeshift studio of sorts because it's not, it's not a real radio studio, but nowadays you could kind of make any room into a somewhat professional broadcasting studio.
I've worked for professional broadcasting companies, and their studios look like shit. So congratulations. But, episode 25 of this Guns N' Roses podcast that we've been doing for over a year now. Thanks to everybody who listened to the last episode with Chris Webber. Just an amazing episode getting to speak to the guy who did Hollywood Rose before Axl was Axl, before Izzy was Izzy. First thing on the docket, so I don't forget because of that episode, and I think he was time-stamped by, let's just say, his name is Jeff. I want to give his last name.
And by the way, I'm opening the blinds a little bit, and I will... and the reason being, I realized it's kind of dark in here. I was like, it needs a little sunlight, so we're kind of just doing shit on the fly.
Which is
but
fine.
I'll let you get into the news.
This is our live era episode of our Guns N' Roses podcast, and much like a Guns N' Roses show, shit may happen. Although lately they've been great.
Yeah.
So I do want to mention on our last episode we had our friend on John Miller. If you're unfamiliar with John, he's an actor, he's a screenwriter. He's been working on a movie about the young Axl Rose, also working on a movie about the making of the movie. So he's been on a bunch of times. He's co-hosted with me. He's actually co-hosting the next show. We'll talk about that after. But he mentioned when we first met him, he has I'm trying to think of how to put it perfectly. He protects Guns N' Roses like a mother bird, a mother hen. If you say anything derogatory or he may think is a fake news, he attacks. So he just brought up a couple of I think he mentioned Alternative Nation. He's not a big fan of that site, but we had to say that we are now because they picked up some of our stories. I don't know. John says sometimes they manipulate some of the facts. That's just what he has said. And we'll bring on John to talk about this in another episode. But he also mentioned this site called GNR Central. It didn't compute to me because there's so many awesome fan sites out there for Guns N' Roses, including this one, podcast fan site, whatever you want to say. But John apparently berated them around 18 minutes, and we said nothing. I had no idea. I was just
sometimes I just, I assume this is something I don't know anything about, and
right.
I let him go.
And I guess it was funny that we had a discussion before we had our buddy, our renegade journalist buddy, Art Devana on. We told him to calm himself and not say anything too crazy. John, I don't know, I think he called them posers or whatever. So we got a message from Jeff, who's a big fan of the podcast. Said he listened to every episode. And I think John may have just went a little too far. Just thinking that this site spreads false rumors, or But I want to just bring that up because I want to put the invitation out to those in GNR Central to come on the show with or without John, just talk it out. Because Jeff ends his message by saying we're all in the same GNR family. And I agree with that. Unless you're doing something malicious, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get that out, that GNR Central, they seem like wonderful people. And sorry we didn't, kind of moot that, nip that in the butt as soon as that was said.
Yeah, I was going to throw out there, because I was just on Twitter before we started, that Art Tavana is apparently at the MTV VMAs right now as we do this episode. He's just like a man about town doing all the big media events, whether it's music related or politics related,
In a live episode, no cough button.
Yeah, well, I actually went like that. I turned you,
Oh,
and I turned
okay.
you back
No,
on.
I appreciate that. No, Art is great, and he wants to come on more up until his Guns N' Roses book comes out.
Yeah.
So he's going to be on more. He's him and John, or what I like to call our bad apples. The people who are just, friends of the show who come on. And so I just wanted to mention that. But on a lighter message, and we'll get into like the fun GNR stuff.
I like how your voice fucked up in the middle of the first live.
No, it did. And I actually am going through puberty.
If you want me to read these, I can.
You son of a bitch.
It happens, dude.
I'll flip over this table. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hot in here.
Dude, it's
I'm
super hot in here.
I'm schwitzing. It's fucking hot in here. So Anna from Portugal, she's somebody who's messaged us a lot, and it's just blown me away that we get messages and emails from people from different continents and everything. So she wrote us after the Chris Webber episode, acknowledging she's listened now to every single one, and she noticed something that I appreciate, and I know you appreciate, and I want to bring it up to new viewers or listeners or whatever, that we get these third and fourth players kind of in the GNR universe. And we respect them. We respect everybody who comes on this show. That's why I mentioned, GNR Central. They haven't been on the show yet, but I like to show respect unless you disrespect me first. So we can, of course, pepper them with GNR questions, but we got to talk to them, of course, about their projects, their life. So that's important. So when we ever have a guest on, it's not just straight GNR. It's I don't know, kind of like a fluff piece or, whoever we have coming on. So with that, I do want to mention next episode that we're going to find out this crazy story, man. I'll be co-hosting with John Miller. Raz Q, who I guess was the first manager of LA Guns and knew Axel and Izzy before, back in the day. He just wrote a book, The Days of Guns and Razes. He's never done an interview. He's never done a podcast. His book is on Amazon right now, so we're going to be speaking with him. And the first thing I noticed, and I'll end right here with this part of it.
Sure.
The cover of the book has 2 handicap logos, and I'm like, what? I have a handicap. My cane is in the background over there. I feel like a weatherman trying to point.
Yeah.
That he's a quadriplegic now.
Oh, wow.
So there's going to be, talking to him, who claims that Axl Rose was the first singer of LA Guns. We're going to talk about that.
That's cool.
We're going to talk about how, what it's like to be quadriplegic now. And, of course, I relate with handicapness. So that's the next episode. Anyway, I feel like I've talked way too much at the beginning of this.
Well, you also wanted to talk about news just going on right now with GNR, right?
Oh,
Before we
yeah,
get into
sure.
some
No, I
main
guess I
topics.
did my homework. So tonight, actually, because if you're watching this live, tonight, if you're on a replay, it's not relevant. Tonight, they're going to be in Saskatchewan, in Canigdia, where my ex-girlfriend just saw them in Ottawa. And she saw them last year, I believe, in Toronto, says that they were better even this year.
Nice.
Believes Axl has even lost more weight. So, I guess it matters, but he's pumping up, I guess.
Yeah.
A couple other silly things. Duff hit 1 million followers on Twitter. I know that's maybe silly, but I don't know. I look at it in the age of social media and how classic of a band that they are. And he's not Axl. He's not Duff. That he got 1 million followers.
Pretty cool.
Also, interesting, he tweeted happy birthday to Gilby Clarke. He's 55. I'm sure they're just friends, but...
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. You could think of,
It's just speculation.
is there going to be a spaghetti incident reunion?
I think the thing is there's not, unless you're die hard, there's not a huge outcry of, we want Gilby Clarke.
No,
Same way that we want Izzy or we want Steven.
I know, but it could still be a cool thing. 30 years of McBob. If you don't know who McBob is, he's the one that introduces the band every single show. With which is just so cool. That
Yeah, he's got the best voice for that.
You know, you wanted the best. Well, they didn't fucking make it.
Well, to be fair, he's only been doing it again since the reunion, right? I don't think he did it during the Axl and Friends days.
You know what? I'll correct it. He's been working with Duff for 30 years.
Gotcha,
That's what Duff said. I've 30 years.
Yeah, because come to think of it, didn't
Velvet Revolver?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know we're gonna get corrected on my GNR form if we get that shit
absolutely.
wrong, so, which we lovingly, say.
Absolutely. And I think the last of just short news is that Slash is the very first global brand ambassador of Gibson guitars.
Very cool.
So I just think that's cool that, not just Axl, but Slash and Duff continue to make their careers and into what phase of their life, wherever this reunion goes, that they're just moving on. So it's awesome. So that's it for news, Ian.
Yeah. Well, so getting into main topics here, I remember we said the first thing we want to hit on, because we have like 3 major topics that you and I kind of wanted to get into. Mm-hmm. First of which was this Slash photo, which I don't know as much about as you. This was something that you've really looked into. So.
All right. So we were both, you actually told me about this GNR fan spot site on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how a story develops. Because I think that's what happened why this band reunited, that they got rid of like all like the lies that are out there and bullshit. And I saw a story develop and just what it came into. And I think that's actually why I got out of journalism. I recognized that shit in college. And I see what our buddy Art Nirvana deals with now, just how you can just change anything. So basically there was a fan that wrote on a Facebook post, along with pictures, that Slash gave the middle finger. And Slash hasn't spoken about this, but this guy, Thunder Ram, I don't know any relation to Ramrod, on my GNR forum said he's met and spoke with Slash numerous times over the past 20 years. Stalker. That he's very accommodating and polite and down to earth. And I guess just this one time that he just gave him the finger, and he's like, maybe he was just being an asshat. By the way, never heard the term asshat until I spent time in Canada. Never heard that term.
I've heard it a bunch.
I don't know. It was new to me. So basically, Slash was being an asshat to him, and forgave him. And then there's just like another follow-up story. If you want to just follow like how the news is that Slash was happy to sign photos of somebody who came from Colombia. So he broke his no signing rules, because you see Axl out there signing autographs. So it's just weird to see Slash not doing it. But the reason I bring that up
is surprising, because at some point Axl said he was done with signing autographs because he was tired of seeing stuff on eBay.
Yeah, I think I've told this story before on the air when I saw Velvet Revolver for the first time years ago at Starland Ballroom. It's in Bumblefuck. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Not to be confused with Bumblefoot.
Not to be. I see what you did there. So I saw a bunch of fans running in the back before the show. Everyone's waiting on line hours before, and it was Slash and Duff back there signing autographs. And someone brought out what I imagined was a Gibson. It was like a white Gibson, and because you just randomly have that going to a Velvet Revolver show. And Slash gives him a look. He's like, I know what you're going to do with that. So I get it. I completely get it. And it pisses me off that, these are like dedicated fans, out there wanting to get these pictures. And it's fucking creepy. Look at this. Look, this is just like the back of Slash's head. That's fucking weird, man.
Is that on a plane? Or
that's on a plane.
Yeah,
yes.
But dude, you'd be doing the same thing.
I would be.
If you happen to be seated behind.
Oh, I've done it. I actually, it's weird, and I admit I'm weird. I don't think it'd be able to be brought up on the camera. Actually, I think I deleted it. I took a weird picture because Alice Cooper was in the office the other day, and I just took a picture of him walking up the ramp, but I didn't post it. So you know what? I never do that with like an odd story, though, attached to it about the other person. It's usually about me being a fucking freak. Like when I worked with you over at Sirius.
Yeah.
I didn't see Avril. I didn't see her, but I took a picture of like her mic stand and shit because I'm a weirdo. So I think that's different.
The guitar thing I was going to say, though, it does happen sometimes that it is a fan. I mean, I remember...
You're bringing that to a show?
Well, the thing that I remember,
it's not like it's a bar mitzvah blow-up guitar.
You and I are both fans of what was the Opie and Anthony show.
Yes.
And I remember a story of, I think it was Danny who worked on the show. He was like running to get a whatever guitar it is that Dave Mustaine plays from the guitar shop that used to be outside where Sirius was. Mm-hmm. He wanted Dave Mustaine to sign a guitar for him. And I don't even remember how the whole thing worked out. But, I mean, it is possible that you want to hang a guitar signed by Slash. I mean, it would be That would be a cool thing to have. So
Yeah, I guess, but for argument's sake, let's just
Yeah.
say that guy was just wanting to sell it.
Sure,
Which
sure.
is it happens
Likely,
a lot.
I get what you mean.
It happens a lot. So that just seeing, but what I did like from the press that they said that they enjoyed the reaction from Slash. You know, that I think what was the title of this article was Slash flipping off Guns N' Roses fan at airport is awesome. So I do enjoy that part of it because that's something that I have to deal with when I'm working in these places. I mean, I don't know how you were at Sirius. You're not as much of a teeny bopper as I am, wanting to get pictures with people. You have to show. You kind of have to show respect. I mean, I told the story where I met Bumblefoot years ago at his first leg of the tour. Super nice. I'm respectful. You got to be respectful.
Yeah, I agree.
And then just to randomly post this, and because nothing gets misconstrued on Facebook and in comment threads. So it's just.
I know what you mean.
So I wanted to bring that up because that's something that just doesn't always relate to Guns N' Roses. Of course, it relates to fucking everybody.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We're checking out the Facebook stream. I will admit, as you said it earlier, because you guys aren't here, so you don't understand. It is like crazy stuffy and hot in here on the weekend.
Let's get naked, man.
For some reason, I guess they just turned the AC off. Are you really about there?
No.
They turned the AC off on the weekend because no one really uses this place. But
Yeah, it's a little warm, but we wanted to try
We're making
this
it-
kind
we're
of
making it
episode.
work.
So with this, you know, I don't have my sound effects, button, so I feel a little bit naked. I usually like.
Well, what were you hit? You said with this.
Oh, with this certain thing, I don't know, some sort of obviously Jewish soundbite, the way that I operate.
So anyway, the next
It's
thing
hot in here.
the next thing I wanted to get into was that they're so recently I watched the Oasis documentary Supersonic, and I'm not a
Is it new?
I think it came out about a year ago.
Okay.
The way I heard about it was that Liam Gallagher was on Howard Stern. And he was, out promoting his solo stuff. They talked about the documentary, and it was a pretty cool interview, a good appearance. He performed Wonderwall, and I was like, man, screw it. Like, I was never a huge Oasis fan, but I was like, these guys have some awesome fucking songs.
They do.
And
I like their singles. I'm one of those guys.
yeah, no, I'm same here, but I'm getting into some of the other stuff. But so I thought it was an interesting interview. I figured I got to check out this documentary, which I did. I watched it on Amazon. Once again, it's Supersonic. And the thing about that band was like Noel Gallagher was this genius songwriter, great guitar player, but he didn't have a very rock and roll voice. He's a decent singer, but he just doesn't have like that X factor. Mm-hmm. And Liam Gallagher, he has like a very distinct voice where it's almost effortless the way he sings. And you watch the documentary, he got a lot of those songs like Champagne Supernova he did in like one take. It was like Noel Gallagher sang it to him and he was like, all right, I'll go in the studio and do it. And you watch him do it on mic in pretty much the first take, and that's what you hear on the album. But these guys just could not manage to get along. It became at a point where Noel Gallagher was on stage singing all the songs.
And it's difficult when, it's more than just a band not getting along. It's family.
Brothers,
It's
yeah.
family. It's difficult.
And they still have that tension. It was funny because Liam Gallagher was on Howard, as I said, and was about to perform Champagne Supernova, and Howard said, oh, I had Nolan here a while back to perform Champagne Supernova. And Liam was like, oh, yeah, did he sing it like Dolly Parton? That's the way he describes like how his brother sings. So what?
He's always good for a quote.
Yeah. So the reason I'm bringing this up, this obviously is not an Oasis podcast, is the fact that I started to think, man, does every just excellent band that has something really special, is there just tension there? Does it just have to be that way? Because I was thinking like Motley Crue, obviously Guns N' Roses, needless to say, but like Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, Pink Floyd,
the Beatles, of course,
the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Van Halen,
Black Sabbath,
pretty much every great band I could think of. I know that the only one, your thunder. But
the only thing I could say is Rush.
Yeah.
But they're Canadian.
But that's one.
And
of
everyone's nice up there. I mean, Nickelback's still together, right?
So yeah. So what I was thinking about though is this what happens when you're on a tour bus with these guys? And I know for me, when I was living in my own house too long, like I have a great relationship with my parents, thank God, and very luckily. But while I was staying there for a while, and I was like approaching my 30s, my mom and I were fighting over a lot of like stupid stuff.
Did you make your bed?
That we didn't need to be.
Did you leave the seat up?
And I figure that if you're on a tour bus with 4 other guys, 5 other guys, there's going to be that tension there, and it just makes me think: is this an ingredient that just unfortunately has to be there for every successful band? I don't know.
I think with chaos comes that creativity. I think you can say that anything of like any sort of relationship. Don't they usually say like sometimes like angry sex is the best kind of sex?
Sounds right. Yeah.
so I'm wondering if that's what it is, and that's how you get out these certain songs. Because otherwise, you're singing about sunshine and rainbows and all the time. So
and also if you're a band that came from nothing, which is most bands, and then all of a sudden you guys are worth millions of dollars, and you have no tension. Then what's the next album going to be about? Like, no one wants to hear you sing about your Lamborghini.
Right. There's too much of an evolution, a human evolution in that. Because I was actually just listening to the first Incubus record, right?
Good album, yeah.
Science, to me, is their best record, but they...
Is that their first?
No, Fungus Among Us. Yeah, sorry. Second record. And it's just the way they've evolved and just kind of... mutated their priorities in life and sound. So I think that's kind of just what happens to these bands. And sometimes when that happens, some members like that direction, other ones don't.
Which reminds me of
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna shift it to another band, but I always mention the Deftones very often. And this last album that came out...
you did not fly down to Texas to go see open for Guns N' Roses.
I wonder how that was.
What kind of fan are you?
So with their last album, Gore, before the album came out, Stephen Carpenter, their guitarist, was talking about, like, this is not really my style. I'm not, he said, I think it was like Guitar World or something, this is not the heaviness that I like to bring to the band.
Right.
And he made some quote where he was like, I feel like this band has left me. And then a few months later, as the album came out, he like had a clarifying statement where he was like, but I got into some of the songs later, and to me it sounded like a little Damage Control there. Because I think that's just what happens with bands, is that other members want to take certain directions. And we've seen it with Guns N' Roses. They've criticized the Estranged video, other members. And they're like, oh, Axl swimming with dolphins. Like, I thought this was like, a dirty rock and roll band. And that's not what they evolved to.
See, that's what I find surprising, because that's obviously what Slash and felt. He wanted a bluesy band, and Axl's going in more the... Elton John direction, I guess that's what. But
sure.
That's what Adler wanted too. He wanted, dirty rock and roll band. And I don't want to steal your thunder now, but we'll get into it. Like, what would new music sound like? Adler, who still is complaining about not being in this reunion, even though he's been a part of it. Mm-hmm. Whether it's been like a couple songs and a handful of shows, he has been a part of that reunion. But I think he said it with Mitch Lafon, which, by the way, happy birthday, Mitch. Today's Mitch's birthday.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Our buddy, one-on-one Mitch Lafon, who's on the Chris Jericho network.
Yeah, he's good, man.
Jericho coming into iHeart on Tuesday, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we always do sidetracks here.
Yeah, I know.
But I will say, I never got into his band Fozzy. But the single, Judas, I dig it. Good song.
Okay, that just reminds me of the Lady Gaga song.
Yeah.
Who I'm seeing tomorrow at Citi Field.
Have fun, man.
Those are my big shows. Actually, it's Lady Gaga, Guns N' Roses in October.
I thought you say Lady Gaga, Guns N' Roses. I'm like, I didn't know that GNR was opening for Gaga.
And I just got tickets to go see Danzig.
Nice. Yeah, so
I got to see Danzig. And I will say this while I keep looking down, which I can multitask.
Yeah.
I'm doing my fantasy draft. I forgot.
That's what you were looking at, because I saw this stuff. I was wondering if it was tweets or,
No, I will say, because I did mention her, and I saw that the message did pop up. I will say my friend, because I think it's a little bit more appropriate than my ex-girlfriend up in Ottawa, who just saw Guns N' Roses. I believe she's seeing them again in Toronto, said she's watching live stream and enjoying it. So, nice. Hi. But obviously, I forgot about my live draft, football draft.
So should we get into that next?
Well, then I could be. This is my Axl Rose halftime show of watching, the NBA Finals, or that story about when he was watching Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze, which is why he was late. So I'm doing my fantasy draft while I'm doing a podcast. But the point, going back on track, what Adler has been saying, that he wants it to be what it was, Appetite. That's not what it's going to be.
No.
If you listen to Chinese, that's not what it's, and they're playing, it's not what it's going to be. So what would new music from Guns N' Roses sound like?
Which is a great question. And this one came to my mind because I was driving around, and for the first time, I heard Weezer's single, Feels Like Summer. I think it was on like Hits 1 on Sirius or something. It might have been on one of the rock channels, but it's a very pop
and
song.
it's a Guns N' Roses song. Did you even notice that?
What?
The GNR connection to the Weezer song?
No, not at all.
So you're just bringing that up randomly.
Yeah. Oh, just very randomly.
So you did not see the video. This is just like
Well, fill us in.
It's an homage to Paradise City. He's even wearing like a Weezer.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I gotta watch
jacket
the video
like
now.
Axl wore in the Paradise City video.
Nice. I gotta see that.
And they tweeted out, and good thing that you pay attention to our own Twitter feed. That Rivers put it out. He dressed like Axl. They dressed like Slash. It was not making fun of.
No.
It was just an homage. So it's interesting that
I gotta watch it.
So now
It's
what gets
fucking
your
awesome.
point though?
Yeah, so no, I just randomly heard it and I was like, this is a pretty cool song, and I rarely am into anything that's new in rock, and I didn't even know it was Weezer because of the fact there's some EDM influence there. And it's a pop rock song. It fits into 2017 pop and rock. And I enjoyed it. But knowing that it's Weezer, I think what went through their mind, I think it's glaringly obvious, is they said, we got to make something that's going to appeal to a younger demographic, that's going to reinvent ourselves and not just appeal to our old school fans, people who like, the Blue Album and all the classic stuff. So then juxtapose that with LA Guns has a new album coming out with the classic singer and guitarist, with Tracy Guns and why am I forgetting the singer's name at the moment?
Tracy of LA Guns?
Yeah, Phil Lewis.
Okay.
Drew a blank there. So anyway, they have a new album coming out, and the new single is Speed. And if you hear it, it sounds like an LA Guns song. It sounds like old LA Guns, and it's good. It's a good rock song. However, you could tell they're not like, we need to appeal to millennials. We need to appeal to women, or they
their
just,
base.
This is, I don't think they have any interest or, the idea for them of putting out something that's going to bring on a whole new crowd is not what they're going for. And Tracy Guns has even said before, like he's kind of jokingly said like, hey, we're like a D-list 80s band and we know where we fit in. And I don't think they're under any illusion that they're going to be played, on Z100 New York pop station or Hits
No, but I mean, you want to get
XM.
on a rock station.
Sure, but that song probably can get played on, Hair Nation or something.
Yeah, Dee Snider's House of Hair or The Sixth Sense, maybe.
But Weezer's song, it's, that song to me, you could tell that they're like, you know what, our hardcore fans might not like this, but we need to get some new people on board, which makes me think, like, if Guns N' Roses put out a song now, would they have Melissa Reese heavily featured, heavy keyboards, heavy samples, and would they put a video out maybe with her at the forefront to show like,
the forefront, I can't see that.
But I'm thinking to show, hey, we're not just these guys in our 50s or 60s, we're appealing to a younger crowd. We have an element in our band that younger kids are going to get into because they already know.
I think they're going to see it, and I think Art did mention that she just got the blue hair before the Troubadour show, and she had never dyed it blue before, and now it's kind of like her trademark.
Sure.
So she stands out.
Yeah.
She stands out. By the way, I got to make my second pick. All right, I got to do this live. I'm going to take. Todd Gurley. Ooh, all right.
But what I was going to say, they're probably thinking if they were to put out a single, they're like, we already have the 45-year-old guy in the Motorhead shirt who's going to go see us. You know what I mean? Like, they know who their demographic is, and no matter what song they put out, if they put out a single, those people aren't going to stop being fans.
No, but
they need to bring on new fans because there's, as we've said many times, there's 16 and 8-year-olds walking around New York City in Guns N' Roses shirts, and they can't name 3 songs by the band.
Oh no, and I'm finding. I just combined in my next word. I'm finding that out, and I'll admit it on Tinder. I'll super like somebody, which is fucking creepy. Whatever. If you have a Guns N' Roses shirt, I'm going to do that. And I'll start asking questions. They don't know much about it. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I still think you're attractive, so it's okay. But
You're like, what do you think of Chinese democracy? Yeah, I have a funny story. I don't think I've ever told this on the show. My first year at college, before I went to Hofstra, I went to Temple University. I was at some like keg party, and this guy's wearing, Bullet logo Guns N' Roses shirt. And this was 2005. Mm-hmm. So at the party, and this guy, you'll see the way he responded to me. I'm like, what a douchebag. But I was like, oh, cool shirt, man. Do you ever think they're going to put out Chinese democracy? Because it was 2005,
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm at a fucking keg party, and this guy's asking me about democracy in China. And I'm like, dude, you clearly are not a fan.
That's really funny. So clearly he's not a fan. But you're right. But I can see that still that the GNR brand has been out for a while. It's the iconic, what Slash looks like. Axl has his new look, this outlaw thing. Duff is with his 1 million followers. Everyone knows him and his blonde mane. And now I think you have really marketable guys, or guys and gals, with Melissa Reese. And I think Frank is very marketable as a person. So I think they should all be featured in a video. Should not be like the Better video that kind of came out years after. I didn't even know it came out. I think somebody from GNR Forum told us after we discussed it one episode, if it ever came out. And it did years later.
Oh, yeah. And I'm shocked that that's an official video because it's very thrown together.
Yeah, no, it is. But I'd have to think that they're going to do something smart because they've been very interesting. We've been retweeting or resharing on Facebook their online campaign. So they did something, I guess, what you can call like a vignette, a short minute video of different fans from different parts of the world and venues talking about what a great show this is. Axl sounds brilliant. You got to get your tickets. So they have that machine going. And I guess the question now, where is it going to go? So that's why we're talking about these things, where now they're back in North America. What's the next step?
And Eddie Trunk, I heard talk about this. He was saying, they sold out football stadiums. Next, they're selling out arenas. They're playing.
And they've been adding more dates. Like I got the date for, was it October 11th at Madison Square Garden? And I think it was just 2 shows, and they added at least one more.
Yep. Yeah, so they're selling out arenas now. And, the Garden, huge arena. And what he was saying is that eventually the draw is going to die down if they keep doing this and there's not something new. So he was like, what are they going to do? Are they going to start doing press? Because they've done all this with absolutely no press.
Right.
Are they going to start...
That one TV interview in Brazil.
Yeah, but they could go on The Tonight Show if they wanted to. They can go on all these things. Anybody would want Guns N' Roses
Axl did Kimmel that one time, but that was pre...
Axl and Friends era,
He may have needed the help then.
So I'm wondering, Eddie Trunk originally wondered, will they do that? And then the other question is, will they maybe put out new music? Because if they put out new music, that brings some new interest to the band. Because right now, they're really just touring off their legacy. And it's the excitement of a reunion.
It's more than that, though, because they're playing at least 4 Chinese democracy songs.
Sure, but the majority of the people going in there, they're there because they want to hear the classic stuff. There's nothing new that they're looking forward to, really.
So I'm wondering what the plan is then. If the Chinese democracy stuff, even though it's been new for a while, is new to a lot of people, then what happens if they do more new music? Do they take out more of their classic tunes, which they've been playing like the same set list for a while?
Yeah.
But the things I'm just curious about and I'm glad that they're still playing Black Hole Sun. I think that's really fascinating. If you want to play a tribute, great, but they've kept it, and they've been playing The Seeker
and Black Hole Sun is sounding better.
Yeah, so it's just interesting where they're going to go with it. But I guess we should point out that we think we're appropriately speculating on the future because Live Nation, it's all about the wording, right? Live Nation, I was trying to sell tickets for this reunion by saying, you'll catch them on their final reunion tour. Final. And it wasn't.
Yeah, they've never said that.
Everyone's thinking like speculation, and I think it was Megan Hodges, Slash's girlfriend on Instagram, said that's bullshit. So there's more stuff to come.
Did you notice, by the way, this is not a new story, but I just never heard about this, that Slash and his girlfriend, they've got matching coordinate tattoos on he has it on his neck and she has it like on her wrist. I never noticed it because it's small. It's just coordinates, but.
What are they, like big Battleship fans? The coordinates of what?
I guess a place where maybe they met. I don't know. But it's also weird because it's a relatively new girlfriend.
Yeah, it is.
That's a pretty big commitment. A tattoo on your neck.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if you saw that. I guess you didn't.
No, I see. All right, so you teach me things.
It's old news though. It's not, but I just thought it was kind of since you brought up his girlfriend.
That's interesting. Maybe one day he'll do what the Undertaker did. He just laser off the tattoo off his neck.
Oh, Undertaker lasered off a neck.
Oh yeah, he had
That's
his ex-wife Sarah over here, and now he's dating Michelle McCool. Sorry,
don't get your.
I was just watching some wrestling.
Wife's name tattooed to your neck.
I wouldn't get any female tattooed on me.
Yeah.
I just don't see why.
Yeah, it's funny. Jason Delgado, who was right here, Marine Scout Sniper.
Oh, wait, isn't that Axel's
artist.
sister, though, that he has tattooed on him, I believe?
I didn't know who the woman was, because I thought it was speculated it was his girlfriend. I don't know at the time.
We probably should know. Maybe somebody will correct us.
Someone, I'm sure John Miller knows. And he's like, you fucking idiots.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, Jason Delgado, Marine Scout Sniper, who was just here a few days ago, in that empty chair. He's a tattoo artist, and yeah, he's like, the names of like 4 women tattooed to me. Like, really, bro? Come on.
Nope, never will do that. So it's just interesting. Where what I'm seeing a lot of, speaking of tattoos, a lot of not in this lifetime people getting tattoos. More and more.
Not in this lifetime? Wow.
Yeah, of just that. I mean, you're marking something, the new logo, the GNFNR, and the way that's scripted.
Cool, yeah.
A lot of those tattoos are coming out. I still have my first one back here. I'm not getting naked right now.
Of course. Well, I'm saying, of course, you still have it, unless you're planning on lasering it off.
Of user illusion. More in the future. But I'm thinking, like, now I'm just kind of free associating that they're a big tattoo band.
Yeah,
they seem to be creative enough to do something with that,
because they mean something. The logos are all really cool and artistic.
To do maybe like when you saw, oh my God, when you saw Dawkins. Yeah. In South Dakota, when he was in that venue where it was a music venue, right? And it was a tattoo parlor and a radio station. So to get tattooed and go to see Guns N' Roses, I mean, I can see them doing something that creative to do it.
I mean, this gets brought up every few episodes, but Gathering of the Juggalos, they've had tattoo artists there before. I have a friend who got the Hatchet Man on his leg, at the Gathering.
Isn't Gathering of the Juggalos it's the same day as some sort of Trump event or something?
Oh no, the Juggalo March on Washington. Yeah.
Fuck this world. This world's so stupid.
It's crazy though. I'm a little worried of how that's going to turn out.
Worried for the Juggalos or worried for the other side?
Both. I think it could get violent. I wouldn't be shocked.
All right. Well, and if it's for those of you, if this is like your first episode, we have spoken in length about Insane Clown Posse on this episode.
But we tie it in.
We do, because it's in Silent J's book talking about...
Violent J.
Violent J.
Talking about Slash.
Shows you I don't...
Jay and Silent Bob.
It shows you what I know, man, or what I don't know. But I guess to go back what we were saying before, what new music, what it would sound like from Guns N' Roses, they should do what Weezer is doing, because it's really hard. It's that crossover.
You think they should? Because I think it would disappoint a lot of fans if they put out a Weezer... And we're not saying Weezer, but we're saying something that appeals to younger fans. Yeah.
I think Chinese Democracy already put that bar of what is this? This is weird. But I still remember, and somebody posted it, and I'm glad it reminded me of the meaning behind If the World Ends Today on, I think it's the 4th or 5th track on Chinese Democracy. And when I first heard it, I literally said out loud, what the fuck is this? It's falsetto guitars, Spanish guitars. It sounds like a porno song. And he wanted to say that he wrote it basically a Bond song.
Yeah.
If he was ever going to write it.
It sounds like a Bond song.
So, and that's really weird. But
my thing I'm going to say though is that when you're saying, they already set the bar with this is weird, the fans who feel that way though, they still are able to fall back on, Slash wasn't there, Duff wasn't there. This is just the Axl side project. It's not really Guns N' Roses.
They would be upset if it was them. If it was actually Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, now they'd be like, wow, these guys got together and this is what they're making. People, no matter what they make, man, it's going to get ears. People are going to want to hear it. And
100%.
You don't want to disappoint their hardcore fans. At the same time, you don't want to make something that people hear and they're like, this is nostalgic. It doesn't really fit into the marketplace today.
I could see them, if they're going to have songs that push the boundaries to get that crossover, to get on a Z100, maybe on a Light FM because they're old enough by this point.
Well, you were saying, Linkin Park, because before Chester died, that song "Heavy," like that was played on a Z100 Top 40 radio.
It was, and I made the mistake of dismissing it right away because I didn't like it. At least what I thought. I didn't do what I did with Chinese Democracy when I gave him multiple listens, and I just dismissed it. And after he died, much like I did with Chris Cornell and Prince and Glenn Frey, Lemmy, Scott Weiland, listened to their music, just for weeks on end afterwards, that Linkin Park's last record is good. It doesn't sound anything like early Linkin Park, but it's still a good record. But I could see what maybe, if there's new Guns, what they may do is maybe what like Metallica did. Here's the album, but here's the single. And you're like, if you don't like that single, like, hey, wait till you hear the rest of the record. Yeah. And it's just not on the radio yet. Because it just seems like this is the last bastion. You're finding more and more older rock stars saying, there's no passion in the rock industry now. It's just, I don't know. I feel like they're like the saving grace of the rock world, and we need something. And by the way, I need to pick again. So should I take Michael Crabtree on the Raiders? I think I might do that. Because I'm not going to take anyone from Denver. They don't have a quarterback. So I'm going to draft Michael Crabtree.
This is reminding me
that
of...
That was a live draft pick.
This is reminding me of that... it was from a different show. It wasn't from Kroll's show. But did you ever hear that clip of Nick Kroll where he's like, where he says, fantasy football is my religion? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's so funny.
Was it from the league?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The whole show about that. And by the way, my team name is called Cam of God. Because Cam Newton was my keeper instead of Lamb of God.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I don't know. I figured I'd mention that.
I wouldn't have gotten Lamb of God right away, but yeah, now that I heard, okay.
All right. Well, that's...
It's not offensive enough, though, people would probably say.
I usually get really offensive.
Yeah, that's not very offensive.
I decided not to do it this time around. Yeah. No.
Our friend Michael Binns, I'm sure he's very offensive.
I want to get our friend. I've been meaning to say that to you. I want to get our friend Mike Binns on the show. He works for what on Sirius?
The Well Count Majority.
And he's a huge Guns N' Roses fan, and that's actually
not on our level. He's a fan.
But that's how I met you, even though we both worked at Sirius.
I wouldn't call him a super fan though, like us.
He's enough that we can bring him on, and he'll be entertaining enough. Because that's actually where I met you. I went with Mike to the Roseland show. Mm-hmm. So
and his girlfriend, who was very drunk at the time.
So yeah, it was the four of us seeing the DJ Ashba version of Guns N' Roses.
I had a great time. No complaints here.
No, it was good, but I left feeling, which I've discussed numerous times in the show, that I did not see Guns N' Roses. I didn't. I left last time saying that. So it's going to be interesting for me to see them this time around in the Garden, first time since 2002, the Buckethead version, and they canceled the tour the next day, the Chinese Democracy tour.
Are they going to play the Garden at the Garden?
I got to follow up.
In the Garden of Eden?
It's really funny. I was actually going to, because I mentioned Alice Cooper was at iHeart the other day, and I've met him before. I could have easily met him again. And breaking the fourth wall, which I always do here, I had an appointment with my therapist, and I had already had cancel on her a couple weeks, and I wanted to do that. So I'm like, Alice Cooper, I really need to talk to my therapist. So I went to therapy, but I would have said, and I have spoken to Catherine Turman, who's on, I think it was a few episodes ago with us, who's the producer of Nights with Alice Cooper, who is just a brilliant journalist. Who's been friends with Duff since they were kids, that she's going to bring that up to Alice, and hopefully, because she's like, I've made weirder things happen.
Yeah.
And I did bring up again, hey, did I dream the fact that you said that you might want to try to get Alice Cooper on our show to talk about the recording of The Garden?
So
she says she will.
If you're at the show, though, and you see Alice Cooper come on stage, are you going to be screaming out, I made that happen?
Of course. Yeah, I was going to go take my shirt off. That was me. No, because everyone's going to understand that. I'm sure Catherine would let me know. So hopefully one day we, knock on wood, get Alice Cooper on the show, because that would just be tremendous.
Tremendous, folks.
Tremendous. Oh, God, he's seeping into my skin.
Axel Cooper. Alice Cooper, great front man.
Yeah, great front man.
Tremendous singer.
Oh, great.
Tremendous songwriter.
Because there's a lot of I wanted it because that's a great song, The Garden, and I want to know more about that. So
and I'd like to hear it at Madison Square Garden.
We mentioned this before the show. Okay, what would they do now? What could they bring other than the music? What could they do to bring more people out when it does dissipate? Would they have Alice Cooper come out?
Sure.
Would they have Billy Joel come out? Where Axl Rose has come out on Billy Joel shows?
We were also even saying before we recorded, would they have them as guest appearances on the album if they put out a new album? Which I think would be a huge Could you imagine a new Guns N' Roses single featuring Billy Joel? It's like both of those acts who have had massive number one hits or top 40 hits. GNR hasn't had does GNR even have number one hits? I'd have to double check that.
Number one hits?
Yeah, I don't know. But
I wish I had a computer
double check. But anyway,
I should know this.
They both have had.
We don't claim to be experts. We're just fans.
They both have had massive hits. Is the bottom line. But they're both long overdue for a hit. So you wonder if new Guns N' Roses lineup teamed up with Billy Joel, put out a song. That'd be huge news.
There's a lot of things because you never know. Because I was listening to a lot of Queen over the weekend. You know how Bohemian Rhapsody once again charted after Wayne's World. Now, I initially, when I first saw the trailer for the new Jumanji, and it's called Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, I was like, "Oh, are you ripping them off?" And they're playing the theme music. I'm like, "Oh, they clearly worked something out." So you never know. I mean, by the way, the trailer, it looks like a good movie. I just don't know why it's called Jumanji.
If it is, I hope that the song recharges, much like Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yes, they're very topical. Right. And then I'm also thinking when you said collaborations, that's how you cross over with that Linkin Park song you just mentioned. I forget the name of the artist. Yeah, I forget the name of not the name of the song, the artist.
Oh yeah.
That sang on it, Kiara or something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Would they do something like that? Reading about the new Foo Fighters record, they just got, I believe, Sean. Because I know there's Wanye Morris, who's the guy on Dancing with the Stars, the guy who looks like Ken Griffey Jr., and then the other guy, I believe his name is Sean. I actually think I still have the cassette of I'll Make Love to You. I was a huge Poison Man. Still am. Sean's going to be on one of the heavier Foo Fighter songs.
That's crazy.
Paul McCartney, I mean, that one you makes sense. He's going to be playing drums, though, on new Foo Fighters.
Wow.
So what could Guns N' Roses do to do something like that?
Song with Lil Yachty.
It's a Little Yachty. Did you just make that up? Because I know it's a little something.
He's huge. He's like that's what the kids love these days. And I know I'm saying
there's
kids,
a little something.
Lil Yachty, he's the guy with the red cornrows and kids fucking love him, man. He's terrible, but it's like that trap music shit. Can you imagine a Guns N' Roses trap music song? I don't think it's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Would they get something would they get a Future?
Yeah.
Would they
Drake?
Would they get a Drake? Because they've been getting some unique openers.
Yeah.
Right?
They've had fucking Kylie Jenner at the show, and
so would they do that? Would they have a rap breakdown?
Well, the weirdest one would be, of course, they'd Skrillex open.
Yes.
Guns N' Roses Skrillex, song.
Right?
And Skrillex did do a whole album with Korn, and that was a little weird, and fans responded a little strange to it. I don't think he did the whole album; it was the EDM Korn album.
Yeah, that's when Jonathan Davis was saying the laptop is like a new instrument, which I didn't like. I don't like that. It's like, to me. Look, I know being a DJ. When I say I'm a DJ, they're like, "Oh, you're DJ." I'm like, no, not the wicka. No, I'm like an actual disc jockey.
Well, the thing is, with those DJs too, I will say there's people when you do that, Jam Master Jay was from Run DMC, super talented guy.
No, not saying there's no talent involved.
Well, what I was going to say for some of them, because last night I was watching the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight.
As
with my
was
friends.
Free on Periscope.
Did you see when they showed DJ Bling? They showed some guy spinning outside, and they were playing right now is DJ Bling. And this guy, he doesn't have turntables in front of him. He's just hitting
Did
a
he have
song.
a microphone?
He's just hitting a song, and he's dancing to it, adjusting the levels. And I laughed when my friend Mark was just like, man, this guy's so talented. Because there are DJs who are talented, but then there's also, DJ Bling.
Because I do want to reach out to, at some point, I mean, I don't know what he's doing now, Mix Master Mike. Because of course he opened up for Guns N' Roses back in the Chinese Democracy tour.
He was
for Beastie Boys
at the St. Louis show, the Philadelphia show, where did they ever even come out? I think they never came out.
No, I don't think they came out.
Yeah, and I believe from reading the show, I mean, I haven't read about this in years, but that he kept having to say like every half hour, like, "Oh, Axl's backstage. They're going to come out any moment now." It never came out.
I just remember him being on for a long time because I believe it was CKY that first opened.
I love CKY.
And I just listened to some 99 Bitter Beginnings on the way here.
99 Quite Bitter Beings.
Whatever. So then I think it was Mixmaster Mike, and I'm like, this just seems like it's going on for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know there are talented people who do it, but for the most part, I'm like, I just think it's like being talented at like, I don't know, a video game or anything technical. It's different when you're playing instruments. So that's why it bothers me when like Guns N' Roses, why do you need keyboards? Keyboard's still an instrument. It's piano. It's different.
But they do have samples and all that. And also, you know...
Martin Luther King.
Yeah. You know what's weird, too, with Guns N' Roses, when I think about the new members, is that they, like these guys, other than Axl, actually, never really walk off stage when they're not needed. So I feel like they feel the need to utilize all these members at all times. And the example I'm thinking of, which we've mentioned on the show...
Menudo?
Is having... Dizzy Reed played bongos on Welcome to the Jungle.
Right.
And I've heard many people on the forums and stuff say, like, this song does not need fucking bongos. But they feel the need to, like, have them up there doing something.
Yeah, no, you're up there. I mean, you're still giving a performance, you know.
But it is weird. Welcome to the Jungle. Why does it need bongos?
I just look at it like the guy for, was it the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, who just goes up there and skanks and gets dance the entire time. So, I mean, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, so I'm just like, maybe, I don't know, why not have Dizzy Reed walk off stage for a few songs or come back?
Unless he needs to take a shit break, I guess he doesn't need to. I don't know. But I would like to see some of these changes. It's going to be interesting where does this end, this leg of this, I don't want to say tour, but of this plan, I guess. Because there seems to be, there's still a future.
And I would assume especially Axl has to be tired. It's been like nonstop almost.
But then it's going to be Axl DC, AC/DC, that he has not dismissed that. That seems to be, that's going to happen. So there's just a lot of different questions coming up. And when you're seeing as more and more of our rock stars is dying, and then this last pillar, this last band, we need them around to do this stuff. So I'm cherish it, and I hope that they do make new music, because I don't want it, yes, I love seeing these songs live for the first time finally with Axl and Slash, but I want to see the next generation, because rock is friggin' hurting. Yeah. Even if they do something that spawns off or inspires something, that's what I want. That's what I want at this point. The fact that I'm even saying that, though, is weird, because just years ago that they weren't doing anything.
Yeah. I would be so happy, man, to hear a new Guns N' Roses album. I need to hear it, no matter what it sounds like. But, you just don't want it to be a money grab. You want it to be these guys in the studio. I would hate to hear that, like, Axl recorded his vocals at a different studio than where Slash plays his guitar parts and stuff like that. Like, I want them to be in the same studio, really collaborating and doing something that all of them are happy with.
I mean, if that's how they used to do it, because, I mean, they used to trade back and forth on the phone. I think in one of those early Axl interviews, he was saying, like, Slash would call me up with this guitar part, and I call back with lyrics. I mean, everyone's different.
But as long as they're, I don't want it to be like, oh, Axl recorded his vocals in New York City and Slash recorded his guitar parts in California and Duff want to be in Minneapolis or something.
No, you want to be organic, and I think I want them to set an example. To be honest, I want them to be the parents for all these fucking baby bands coming up of how to record a song.
Yeah, and for example, I was pretty disappointed with the final Motley Crue album, because it's really not a Motley Crue album.
Was that Saints of Los Angeles?
Yeah, and you look at the songwriting credits, and it's basically a 6 a.m. album. Yeah. It was written by like the 6 a.m. guys, and including Nicky. But DJ AM wrote, more than half the album. Mm-hmm. And, I look at the classic Motley Crue lineup stuff, and Tommy Lee did a little of the writing, and Vince did a little of the writing, and Mick. Nicky Sixx was always the primary songwriter. Mm-hmm. But it's like, with Guns N' Roses, I want these guys to all collaborate together. I'd rather them not put an album out than put out, a subpar thing, because the legacy is too important to me. And I've said many times before, I'm a huge fan of Chinese Democracy, so I want to see something that's at the very least on par with that.
I hope so. And because it's going to be interesting what Slash and Duff may do with it, because the fact that they've been playing Chinese Democracy stuff, and they've been, I don't know, they've made it their own. So I got to expect that this record would lean more towards Chinese Democracy than it would Velvet Revolver, as I slow
or
tone.
Slash and
Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators,
which I've said before, I'm just not really that into.
There's plenty of songs I like. Back to Cali that he did. I'm trying to think. Anastasia is a great song. On that first record though, there's a lot of that Chris Cornell song, Promise, incredible. The Ozzy song is incredible. But he's still that 80s, Slash rock and roll.
Yeah, that's what he doesn't like to really leave that reservation, other than having, Fergie and, big names on the album, but it's still.
Yeah, what's his face? So Adam Levine was on it. But it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it, and I think it's going to have to go in the way the Axl wants it to go.
Yeah.
So maybe that's kind of the compromise. Like, yeah, we'll do it your way, Axl, but let's put our spin on it, which is the way it should be. So, and I discussed this, I believe, in the episode with Catherine, the amount of Buckethead I've been listening to. It was a Buckethead Axl record. And Buckethead makes weird shit. It's not going to be Chinese Democracy.
Yeah, it's
because no one's like Buckethead.
Well, if you look at the songwriting credits, though, on Chinese Democracy, it's kind of all over the place,
It is, but I'm wondering.
It's got some Josh Freese.
Right. Well, I mean, that's just a collective, everyone. There's got to be a documentary of just the Chinese Democracy.
I could watch like a 9-hour documentary on that.
Yeah. It'll be the Roots version of Guns N' Roses.
I mean, it's been speculated.
Probably the worst analogy ever, but.
It's been speculated upon that it was like the most expensive album ever made.
Yeah.
I've heard that said. I don't know if it's, fact checked, but I do think that would be an amazing documentary. There's got to be
We'll
footage.
look into it. We'll do some investigative reporting, trying to get more. So we should get all these side characters that we've gotten from the early days. Like we got Chris Webber, Vicky Hamilton. We're going to get Raz Q on soon that we can get from the Chinese Democracy era.
Yeah. So before we wrap here, I was just thinking, because you mentioned.
Are you going to freestyle?
No, I was going to mention Ozzy.
Oh, because you mentioned rapping. Sorry, that's
terrible. When you said Ozzy's song on Slash's album, I just have to ask you or anybody checking this out if you got a chance to see Ozzy do "Bark at the Moon" during the solar eclipse,
and it happened.
Pretty fucking cool, man.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
See, that goes to show you can have something planned, like what's her face singing "Total Eclipse of the Heart" on the boat. But Ozzy singing...
I'm trying to think of her name now. I can't even remember off the top of my... And it didn't sound good. Ozzy actually sounded pretty good.
Oh, and I guess I remember our Art putting out something funny, saying that singer, Total Eclipse of the Heart, was like a white supremacist, just like fucking trying to trigger people. But just like the evil Ozzy, and you can see as he's singing "Bark at the Moon," the moon just gets darker and darker and darker, and you would see the comments that people who were at that show like, this doesn't even show like what it was like to be there.
Yeah,
that's just like Ozzy's God.
Yeah,
my
friend Derek was there, who had a short-lived career that you might remember on Opie and Jim's show, and he went by D-Bag. He was there, one of their producers.
Okay.
So, he went with his girlfriend all the way to, I don't even remember where it is. It's like Illinois or some shit. I don't know. But wherever, like, there was total visibility of it, flew to see Ozzy Osbourne play "Bark at the Moon" during the eclipse, which I think would have been funny if he just did "Bark at the Moon" and left. Like, you went all the way there just to see him play one song.
I guess if that's the song where you're not going to, there's no chance of that. When's the next eclipse? It's not going to be for like 20 years or something.
Well, I think the next like total eclipse or whatever, because there's also the annual.
Right, but I'm saying that the next chance that there's a total eclipse of the heart or whatever, that Ozzy may not be alive. So.
What did you think of it, by the way?
Of the eclipse?
Yeah, like, did you watch it?
I mean, I appreciate the science of it, but I mean, what am I really going to see? Like I see, unless it's out there. Hey, it's fully over the sun. But I'm here. I was actually here. Not here. I was at iHeart, and I guess hear people. Oh, look at the sun! Look! And it's like that for 10 minutes.
You sound like Shepard Smith of all people. Did you see Shepard Smith's reaction to it?
What, that he didn't care?
Oh yeah, he's just so overly sarcastic, Shepard Smith.
Yeah,
it was
no,
actually
I don't
pretty
want to
funny.
be one of
I'll
those
just
bitter
show
people.
you.
And I'm like, oh, I don't care.
But he was pretty funny about it. I'll show you after we're done.
No, I mean, it's science, it's physics. I like it, but it was not. It was a comet.
Yeah. Well, we're wrapping up here. I see that John Miller has joined us.
Do we have gotten any comments?
Kim, Jason. Yeah, earlier on, someone said something about haha twice in an episode, and I don't even know what that's referring to. Jason said, wow, you're a funny-looking bunch. Haha, kidding. Can't watch now, but we'll check out later, lads. And that's really about it. This is the first live stream. Mm-hmm. Of course, follow us on Twitter at the AFD Show, since we just put this on Facebook. Follow you at Belbiv Brando on Twitter. I'm at Ian Scotto, Facebook.com/Ian Scotto Radio. And we appreciate taking you guys behind the scenes and seeing like what we do here. And this is nicer sound quality than when I do soft rep, because usually there's a million things going on in the background. This sounds almost soundproof.
Almost.
It's kind of cool. So is that it? I feel like I'm the one hosting now because I'm behind the board, and you're usually the guy who's doing the intro and the outro.
I'm trying to think that I get everything on my docket as I'm still and I'm managing to do my draft.
And John Miller, of course, says, "Do it live."
Thanks, John.
Which the Bill O'Reilly.
Thanks,
reference.
John. And my ex-girlfriend from up in Ottawa, Anastasia. I appreciate her listening. Huge Guns N' Roses fan. I'm trying to think. Oh, we could always talk about it, but I mean, it's a topic we've discussed before. Tracy Guns put something out about the cameras, for bands of that era. It's
where
weird.
he basically said just enjoy the show. We don't want flashing in our faces the whole time.
Right, so it's awkward. So I will mention, I don't know if it's public knowledge, but Tracy Guns is doing a podcast coming up soon.
Nice. His own, you're saying?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. He's being interviewed. I just don't know.
Okay.
It's with a friend of ours. I just don't know if I can say it yet.
Got you.
But it's just interesting because next week I'll be doing the show with our friend John Miller, who brought Raz Q, again, the first manager for LA Guns, wrote the book, The Days of Guns and Razes, to us. So that's going to be next week. And I'm just looking forward to talking about that because I believe that episode's coming out the same day as that Tracy Guns episode, which was obviously not planned. So that's interesting.
And your friend Joseph Weinreb says, please give me a kiss.
Oh, yeah. Joe is an amazing painter. He's a huge Slipknot fan and loves the homoerotic humor. He's got like Slipknot tattoos, and he's freaking crazy, man. I believe that's it, man. I'm seeing Lady Gaga tomorrow at Citi Field. I cannot wait.
What do you think of the new album? Did I ask this before?
Joanne, I actually first listened to it. It's not my favorite. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite. See, you know what? We'll wrap it up like this. I would love to see Lady Gaga do something with Guns N' Roses. I was a massive fan of what she did with Metallica.
Even with all the errors.
I thought it sounded great. It made me like the song more.
Yeah, but James didn't sound great.
Because he couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, put the mic, it's the first rule of broadcasting. Put the mic on.
I remember there was almost like conspiracies over that. Like, they're trying to sabotage the fact there's a rock group up there. How come it didn't happen with like any of the rappers or...
People need to shut up. It just sucks.
Yeah.
It's appropriate. That's what rock and roll is. We always got to fight back. No, I believe that's it. So I will, see you guys next week. I guess you'll hear me next week as we do the recording. Ian, probably just in a couple weeks, we'll figure it out.
Yes, sir.
So we'll figure out the future. Just follow us for updates at the AFD Show on Facebook and Twitter.
And I think we're off to see, or if you're still in Terminator 2 in 3D while it's still in
maybe
select
I have some stuff I got to do early tomorrow.
Your draft? Oh, no.
Oh no, I can multitask.
Because for any of you, there is a Guns N' Roses connection there. Of course, you could be mine. We didn't mention that. So you could be mine is of course in Terminator 2, and now there's been a little bit more press with Terminator 2 being re-released in select theaters in 3D. So James Cameron has done some interviews where he made controversial remarks, which you might have seen. Did you see that?
No.
He said that like Wonder Woman was a step behind for cinema. and like a step backwards for cinema.
Did you really?
Yeah, and so that got a huge backlash on Twitter, as you could expect.
I feel like that's the only negative review on the movie.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know the context of why he said it, but people weren't happy. And then I guess Arnold did a little bit more. I don't know if he did publicity, but he came out there and said that, or James Cameron may have said it. I'd have to reread it, but that Arnold went to go see GNR record Use Your Illusions in the studio, and he was the one who decided, he claims, that when he heard You Could Be Mine, he was like, this is the song we should put in Terminator 2, which is pretty cool if that's true. I mean, I think it was perfect play. I mean, I can't think of a better song for that
Let's get
scene.
Arnold on the podcast.
Oh, dude, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Well, they were talking about Joe Rogan.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they were going to say when Joe Rogan did episode 1000, I saw comments that were like, got to get Arnold on episode 1000, but he didn't do anything that special.
I'll end it here. I had a dream last night.
About Arnold?
No, about Mike Piazza. Mike Piazza called my cell. I never met him. I've never met the former catcher.
I did.
And he wanted to be on the show and talk Guns N' Roses, basically just to berate me that he's a bigger fan.
That would be a big yes.
So
if you ever wanted to
I'm
come on the
hoping,
show.
I'm hoping that it was a premonition, not just a dream. So we'll see. Hang tight. And in the words of Chinese democracy, what will you see in the future of Appetite for Destruction? No, I totally fucked up.
Appetite for Distortion.
Destruction. So yeah, that's live.
I've called the show Appetite for Destruction.
I made it
before.
through almost an entire show without messing up.
And you know what's funny? More people are joining us as we're wrapping up. So
That's funny. So, I mean, we tried to give some notice about when we will be live. We may do this again in these studios.
Yeah, it's cool, man. And this was fun. And it wasn't, that big of a distraction because we got the camera behind us. I know that you saw the back of my head a lot of that, but, it happens.
No, I actually kind of like not having to be on the controls and worry about, did I save this and fuck up.
I worry about that too. That's why I'll open this and be like, am I saving?
So it was nice. It was a nice little break for me. So, in the words of Axl Rose to Kurt Loder concerning Chinese democracy, when is the next time you're going to see us? Well, I don't know if the soon is the word, but you'll see it.
You've been listening to the distorted minds of Brando and Scotto, dissecting all things Guns N' Roses on Appetite for Distortion. Follow the guys on Twitter at The AFD Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/The AFD Show.
Thanks to the lame ass security, I'm going home.